I want to talk about why avoidants are not the enemy. Like, I spent years looking into attachment theory in all the different levels, from the basic level, and there's deeper levels as well. And it's really hard if you are someone with an anxious attachment style, and you're loving and you want to be connected to someone, and they're rejecting and avoidant. It's really hard to not think they are the devil, and to get angry because someone can treat you that way and feel resentment. And I spent a long time, firstly, reading everything on attachment styles and looking into attachment styles and figuring out my own attachment style. But I also spent a lot of time paying really deep attention to my own avoidance strategies and patterns, which I didn't acknowledge that I had for quite a long time or didn't really understand. And two, looking at other people's avoidance patterns and seeing beneath that and being able to like separate out my own anxiety from that. And it's a really great way of resolving your own anxious attachment style, to empathize with the opposite and to also try and gain some perspective where you have been avoidant yourself. And so today's video, I'm just going to it's going to be quick. I want to just talk about the avoidance attachment style and why they're really not the worst people in the whole world. And so I think the first time I encountered stuff about attachment styles, I had therapy in 2018. That's the first time I really remember it. I've always been interested in like sort of the dating guru advice stuff. I remember reading Matthew Hussey, Get the Guy, or I think it was like that, when I was quite young, to try and understand like male psychology or something like that. Because I've always really struggled with dating. I always just found it really hard. It was always like the pendulum for me. Like, I would always really, really, really like someone who didn't like me, or sorry, I'm getting all these notifications. I would either really like someone who didn't like me, or I wouldn't like someone who did like me. And it's really frustrating as well. And without rhyme or reason as well. There was no, I can remember some guys that really liked me, and I'm like, why didn't I like them? Like, they were so great. And they were attractive, or I found them attractive. I was attracted to them. But I just was like, no, couldn't do it. And that's when you have like that, like there's that. I mean, you could say that's avoidance if you wanted to. Um, it's this like push, right? It's this real push away that you experience inside to be like, no. And so I know that there are definitely some people I've met in my life that would probably be an avoidant. But for me, I felt very, very plagued by my anxiousness. And I think that's the big difference between anxious attachment and avoidant attachment, is that like, what is the thing that kind of plagues you? Because we all have like avoidance strategies. We all have like, connection strategies. I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's like, if you are anxiously attached, you're feeling this real desire, this real pull, and you are trying to, you're acting on that, and you want to bring someone closer to you to like, to satisfy that craving and that pulling towards you. And if you've got an avoidant style, you've got a push feel, you've got this repel, like, stay away from me, get away from me. And so you act on that in order to create that space and to satisfy that push. And kind of both times, like, when you get out of that, whether you react to it, don't react to it, once you're out of it, you go, oh, why did I act that way? Like, why did I give into that pull experience? And the avoidance side is like, why did I give into that push? And they can feel guilt, and they can feel confusion afterwards as well. I mean, some do not. Some are like, no, fine, I'm done. And some people, some people are absolutely fine with that. My experience was that I felt this very strong pull towards specific people, but a push away from other people. And so I guess, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that very briefly, because it's the same kind of thing, just flipped. right? Like you when you're anxious, you're you're trying to pull someone close to you to make yourself feel better. When you're avoidant, you're trying to push someone away from you to make yourself feel better. That is inconvenient for both sides, right? Like avoidant people don't necessarily just love having no connection. It's just that it's overwhelming. It creates that push mechanism for them. Anxious attached people don't necessarily just despise having their own space. I mean, you might have loads of thoughts that say, oh, I really need someone in my space, I really need people around me, but you still want to have your own life. Like, it's not feasible to always have someone in your world. Like, it's just not. And so the push and pull, they're the same thing, just just creating different outcomes, right? It's a discomfort in oneself that you're trying to solve with an external thing. One's about being crowded, one's about being abandoned, I guess. So the way you can go, like, if you're an anxious person, is to be like, they're not trying to hurt me. It's not really about me. It's not really personal if that avoidant person is pushing me away. It's about them struggling. Like, that is essentially it. I've got a recent experience with my own ex, um, who just cut me out one day, just stopped talking to me, just out of the blue. And luckily for me, I'd already kind of processed a lot, and I'd already, identified that we weren't right for each other. And I could see my pull mechanism with him like really kicking into gear. And when he just cut me out, that's his version of like, go away. I felt really strong pull. Like, I was just like, oh my God, I need him here right now. I need to solve this with him. Like, he is the solution to how I'm feeling. And I was able to be like, okay, well, that's not the solution. That's not the thing that's going to help me right now. And I gave myself that, like, the kind of that love. Like, I was like, acknowledge, like, I'm feeling this pull. I'm feeling this like craving for this person. And I really, I feel like they are the solution to how I'm feeling right now. I'm just going to acknowledge that. Like, I don't have to act on that because it doesn't mean it's true. It's not necessarily true that this person is the solution to how I'm feeling right now. But I'm going to acknowledge that, and I'm going to feel for myself, because it's a really horrible experience to just be cut out from someone's life. And it's not a nice experience to crave someone and not satisfy that craving, even though it's probably good for you in the long run. It's not a nice experience. I acknowledge that. I give myself that space and that appreciation and acknowledgement. And I'm not saying it's easy, by the way. It's not. But then also with time, and I actually did, we did meet up. I was just like, oh, I know how much he struggles. Like, I can just see, like, he feels so much guilt for pushing me away, and he can't cope with that closeness. It really causes him a lot of distress. And in his mind, it's the same thing happening. I'm like, oh, I need you closer to me to make me feel better. His is, I need you far away from me to make me feel better. But, it's not true. He didn't feel better from having pushed me away. He felt just the same, felt terrible, because he doesn't acknowledge his experience and his feelings in the way that I do. So I felt better despite the fact I didn't satisfy that pull craving. I felt good in myself. Whereas, like, I don't think he acknowledged, like, the pain of what he was feeling, and being like, oh, this feels terrible. Like, I don't feel good. Doesn't mean I have to act on it. He could have, like, dealt with those feelings rather than reacted to those feelings. And then when we did see each other again, he's feeling crap. He's not feeling great. And he didn't like the way he reacted to um, those feelings. And yeah, there's remorse. And so I couldn't feel resentment to him, because I was like, well, I'm glad I'm not in your shoes. Like, I'm glad that I don't still feel of reactivity towards that. And obviously, like I said as well, I'm going to wrap this up now. Um, I've pushed people away. I felt repelled by people. And then, I've reflected afterwards and been like, I don't know why I felt that way. It really wasn't necessary. It's a bit of unnecessary, dramatic emotion. But nonetheless, it still happens, and we're all human, and we all struggle with these things. And so I know it's painful that you're seeing that this person is causing you that pain, and it can feel really cold, but they're actually often feeling a lot of pain as well and reacting to it. And so, you know, if you're in an avoidant, anxious cycle, the one thing you can kind of guarantee is that you're both suffering. Um, and when you can take your own suffering away, or take yourself out of your suffering, you can start to be very compassionate for the other person as well, even if it doesn't meet your needs and doesn't help your life, but you can still be like, you can just see it from a different perspective and just feel the compassion, like, oh, they're going through a tough time. So just a quick one. I thought I'd talk about how to not hate your avoidant ex/partner.